Oh, this is good. Hi there, I trust that you are doing very well. My name is Calvin Amonza, and today I just decided to stream so that I can be able to share on a subject that is very important. This channel is dedicated to matters of relationship and leadership and personal development. So today we'll talk about one important subject that I think is important to to a lot of people, and especially some of us who are Christian. So I'm just going to share some views on a particular subject. And the subject for today is why I personally think that you should never stay pure for the sake of getting married, or why you should not keep your virginity for marriage. And that's the conversation we're going to have today. And I'm going to share about 3 or 4 points why I think it's important to clarify some of this. And just give me some few minutes so that I can just get ready to share my thoughts, and your views also will be appreciated. Let me just get ready to do something here. All right, let's go back to the conversation that we are having. I think the past few couple of days, I've encountered few videos, comments on YouTube and social media around sexual purity, and I was excited to see a number of people believing God and trusting God as to why they would want to remain to maintain a level of sexual purity until they get married. So they are keeping themselves pure until they get married. And also there were other comments, and I think I'll talk about some of those comments maybe sometime when we get a chance, where others also were feeling a bit of self-condemnation, that some were making funny comments, say, in this day and age, it's not impossible for individuals to remain pure, and for that matter, not just individuals but for believers to remain sexually pure. But I was more drawn to the idea and some of the conversation that I saw, and some of this conversation were around how there was a certain group of individuals, and especially it was more of women who haven't been sexually active, and they have kept themselves pure and clean. They haven't slept with any man. And some of the comments were like, I want to remain like this. I want to maintain and keep myself pure for my husband. And what I picked was, there was a sense of the motivation behind this was these individuals want to to abstain from sexual activities because they want to to give the virginity to their husband when they get married. So the idea is to make sure that they present that as a gift. And there were also other comments that were the other comments focus more on the sense that when you keep yourself pure, you are first of all keeping that for your husband, but also that you are preparing and you somehow are preparing yourself to be blessed by God, because that being sexually pure is a foundation to a good marriage. But I want to maybe go deeper and just maybe raise a few points that I want to talk about. Point number one is that never think that God will bless you with a good husband or a good marriage because you are a virgin or because you have decided to keep yourself pure. So the idea that you've chosen to keep yourself pure is not a premise, it's not a foundation that God is going to bless you with a good husband, that God is going to bless you with a good marriage. There are people who got married as virgins and today they are no longer married, they are divorced. And there are people who kept themselves pure and they never got married. So if your mind is said to that the idea why you want to remain sexually pure is that because you want God to bless you with a good husband or a good marriage, that idea is not sustainable, because you are almost saying that you because of what you have done and because of your status, then God is bound or obliged to give you a good marriage. Yes, sexual purity can lay a foundation for a good marriage, but it's not what really makes the marriage work, or it's not really the source of a blessed marriage. So it's important for us also to clarify that. Point number two that I want also to talk about is that you do not never keep your virginity for the sake of having or for your husband. So having a husband in mind is not the motivation for you to be able to keep your virginity or for you to remain sexually pure. That's not the goal. What if you don't get married? What then? Are you going to change the reason why you have chosen to remain pure? Are you going to change? What if the marriage delays? I've encountered people who marriages, they have taken long to find their partner, and some are quite old and they are not married yet. But if the goal of remaining sexually pure was because you wanted to keep yourself for a husband, you're setting yourself up for failure, and you're setting yourself up for disappointment. We do not choose to be sexually pure because we are keeping ourselves pure for the next person. That's not the goal. And I'm going to focus on the most important point that I think we should be looking at. So first of all, never keep yourself pure because you think by keeping yourself pure, God is going to bless you with a good husband or a good marriage. Never keep yourself pure because you are keeping yourself pure for a person, for a husband. That's not the goal. Point number three is that should you choose to remain sexually, choose the path of sexual purity as a child of God, which I think is a noble desire, and it's something that we should all aspire to because it's important. But the motivation for one choosing a path of sexual purity isn't marriage, isn't a husband. The motivation is Christ. You get the picture? So never choose to be pure because you are waiting to hand over yourself to a person, or you are waiting for a marriage, or you think the decision to be sexually pure is a foundation for a good marriage. Those are not the reason why we choose to remain sexually pure. The goal and the motivation is Christ. So our motivation and our intention to remain pure is motivated by the work of Jesus Christ. In fact, it's also important for us to understand that we are motivated to be pure and to live pure lives, not because in and out of ourselves we have the ability and we have the capacity to actually be pure. Jesus Christ's work in our lives becomes the motivation. And also added to the idea of Jesus being the motivation for us to remain pure is the fact that self-effort is not also the reason why God chooses to bless us. So you choosing to be sexually pure and keep yourself isn't the reason why God is going to bless you with a good marriage, or why God should bless you with a good wife or a good husband. That's not the reason. Because if you are saying that your effort will cause God to bless you with something, you are saying that when you fail to keep yourself to the standard that you have raised and the standard that you have chosen, what is going to happen is that you're going to look at yourself as somebody who is incapable and who does not deserve God's love, God's blessing, and God's acceptance. Why? Because you have failed. Because the journey that we are on, we will all make mistakes in one way or another. If we attach God's blessing and God's goodness, God's kindness towards our performance, we are setting ourselves up for failure. And this is the reason why a lot of us are in self-condemnation, because we have always thought that we are the reason, our efforts are the reason why God blesses us,